Continuing our ongoing gem series, we're breaking down the giant woman who launched a catchy tune and brings two of the crystal gems who don't always see eye to eye together. We'll be covering her appearance, look, personality, powers, and some of the real-world influences that could have shaped the character's creation. I'm Chris Carr, and today I'm talking to you about Opal from Steven Universe. Before we get into this fusion, I want to give a shout out to all of our donors on Patreon. Thanks to these gems, I'm gonna write about space rocks forever! If you want to help us out, head on over to our Patreon page and see if a donation tier works for you. We'll thank you for your dollars with shout-out, swag, and behind-the-scenes looks. If you're like, forget you, Carr, you're not getting any of my hard-earned cash, I use my monies for me and me alone. Well, then that's cool, you can just put your 2 cents towards a shirt from TeePublic. Follow our link to get some of those tees. On to Opal!
Let's do this!
You've got the right idea, but we might want to be a bit more careful.
Gotcha. Shall we?
We first meet Opal in the Season 1 episode Giant Woman. While on a mission to the Sky Spire, Steven tries to encourage Amethyst and Opal to fuse so he can see a giant woman. Their fusion attempts at first fail. Amethyst is busting out funky moves, while Pearl is performing a more graceful ballet-like dance. Eventually, the two are able to synchronize their styles and fuse to form Opal, a blue-skinned giant woman with 4 arms. Her 2 gemstones are placed where Pearl and Amethyst have theirs, their forehead and chest respectively. Many fans are quick to point out that Opal looks a lot like Nabooru from The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, especially because of her pointy nose. Opal teaches us a lot about fusions. When Opal panics over not bringing back the Heaven Beetle, the anxiety causes Amethyst and Pearl to separate and launch into a fight. This reaffirms the harmony and trust that must exist for a fusion to remain stable.
Opal is an amalgam of our combined magical and physical attributes fused into a single entity.
Garnet also tells Steven that he's going to be great at fusing one day in this episode, sharing with Steven and us, the audience, that Steven should be able to fuse with gems in the future. Opal is carefree, like Amethyst, but also graceful and precise like Pearl. She's playful, as we see when she sings back some Giant Woman lyrics to Steven. Opal seems to balance out Amethyst's ability to be present and live in the moment with Pearl's focus and goal-oriented mentality. At times, Opal is so peaceful and balanced that she can forget the task at hand, like bringing back that beetle. According to the book Guide to the Crystal Gems, Opal is extremely forgetful. This fusion seems to be one of the more tenuous ones. In the short, Fusion, she's used to illustrate how difficult it is to maintain a fusion if the gems have a hard time collaborating with one another.
The new forms have extra body parts, and the combined heights and strengths of the fuses. But fusion is hard for gems that have trouble collaborating.
Amethyst and Pearl seem to view fusing into Opal as a last resort. Yet while fused, Opal allows them to experience a peace they don't often feel. Both Pearl and Amethyst are fairly insecure gems, though they express that insecurity very differently. This highlights that despite their differences and bickering, Pearl and Amethyst can find common ground and work together, and do have more in common than they think. We're introduced to a fusion as a tool of teamwork. Of course, fusion also has been confirmed to be representative of various forms of love.
What's the best reason to fuse?
That's easy. The best reason is
Love.
Platonic, romantic, familial, and this physical manifestation of intimacy is all based on trust and consent. Fusion is a form of expressing love. And Opal shows us how that expression, being in that state, can vary and wave. If Amethyst and Pearl aren't feeling it, not trusting one another, then that fusion is over. They've seemed to have gotten better at trust over time though, after all. And together alone, we see them fuse into Opal without even needing to perform a fusion dance. Opal possesses your standard set of gem abilities, such as enhanced strength, agility, and durability. Thanks to Pearl, she's very limber, elegant, and performs all her swifty and agile moves in battle up on her tippy toes. She can also fuse with other gems, creating even more powerful fusions. Gianter women. Opal seems to have a sort of parkour free-running style that allows her to scale almost any terrain at super speed. Thanks to being a combination of Pearl and Amethyst, Opal can summon and wield both of their weapons. She can even combine the whip and spear to form a recurve bow. With the bow, she fires arrows made of light energy. These arrows can explode midair and shoot off as smaller arrows in every direction and attack multiple targets. Gems that are pierced by these little arrows have their gemstones automatically bubbled and teleported to the burning room. Plus, Opal can play bass thanks to Pearl's proficiency, as we see in Steven Universe the movie. Cute fun fact. Okay, Opal is voiced by Amy Mann, and she's in an indie rock band called The Both with Ted Leo, who voices Steg, and Amy Mann is a bassist. I think it's cute. I like that. This gem fusion seems to have taken a lot of inspiration from Hinduism. Opal's design seems to share a lot with the Hindu goddess Kali. Kali is the goddess of time, empowerment, creation, and destruction, and also possesses 4 arms, long hair, and a gem on her forehead. Apparently, Opal was originally going to make a manji, a Hindu symbol for peace, with her arms when summoning her weapons. You wanna know why they didn't do that, Brett?
Why?
Because it looks too much like a swastika, because Nazis stole everything from everyone.
Oh, wonderful.
Another Hindu deity, Lakshmi, also has 4 arms and is associated with light, which could have influenced Opal's light energy arrows. Okay, for this next one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not super familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of fans have made comparisons to Opal and Shinado, king of a higher plane from the trading card game. There are some very basic comparisons, like having similar color palettes, having a bindi mark where Opal has Pearl's gem, and they both have extra body parts, but the ones that stuck out to me were both of them possess powers based on light and energy. You also need to summon this king in the game by getting 2 or more monster cards with a lower level in your field as tribute, plus a magic summon card. So this is kind of like how Opal forms with Pearl and Amethyst by performing their fusion dance and becoming a more powerful being. Like I said though, this seems like a stretch, and I am by no means a Yu-Gi-Oh! Expert, so if you have more evidence connecting these two, definitely hit me up in the comments.
I can't believe you just described ritual summoning.
I don't know what the game is. I was like, sure. Let's talk about the real-life Opal gem. Opal is a hydrated amorphous form of silica that's classified as a mineraloid. There are 2 broad classes of opal, precious and common. Precious opal has that iridescent array of colors, and common doesn't. The pseudochromatic optical effect is thanks to precious opal having an internal structure that diffracts light. On a microscopic level, precious opal has this sort of hexagonal lattice pattern of silica spheres. The regularity of the size and spacing of these spheres determines the quality of precious opal, as the distance between these spheres influences what colors are observed. So, Opal the Fusion's light powers make total sense to me, as does her color palette. Opal is most commonly found in Australia and can be found in Ethiopia, Nevada, and Mexico. The name Opal is said to come from the Sanskrit upala, meaning precious stone, and later the Greek derivative upalios, meaning to see a change of color. It's been a long-held superstition held by many, including my mother, that it's bad luck to buy yourself opal, and that opal must be given to you. Which, honestly, I just assumed was a ploy for people to buy my jewelry. But it turns out, in the Middle Ages, opal was considered a stone that could actually bring good luck to the wearer, since it was believed that all the virtues of each gemstone whose colors were represented in the color spectrum of opal would be bestowed upon you. However, the book Anne of Gerenstein by Sir Walter Scott led to opal getting a less stellar reputation. In the novel, a baroness wears an opal talisman with supernatural powers, and that talisman is tied to the baroness dying. The novel's popularity led to people associating opals with bad luck and death, and the sale of opals dropped by 50% in Europe back in 1829, and sales remained low for several decades.
Did they only have one story back then?
There was one story, and everyone in Europe was like, yeah, Sir Walter Scott!
And then they're like, just throwing their opal.
Yeah, they were like, get rid of it. I know we had a whole bunch of ancient rituals with them. Royalty in Europe loved this shit, but you know what? Someone died. We're done. This was just the worst. This was the anthrax scare of gems. And it was like, don't open your mail and don't keep your opals.
It was a book.
I'm just saying. They didn't have anything else, Brett. It was
How
1829.
many people could read back then? I guess everyone who has opals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just little stray urchins being like, no, I won't wear this anymore.
This is why father died.
Opal is the birthstone of October, and apparently is what you give as a 14th wedding anniversary present. So I guess 14-year marriages in the 19th century were a little awkward. Here's this death stone. Love you. Mean it. October is the birth month for Libras and Scorpios. Based on the supposed traits of Libras, I'd say that's the sign that Opal the Fusion better aligns with. Libras are charming, cooperative, and diplomatic. They love balance and harmony. Our fusion is the embodiment of cooperation and calm. I'm wondering if Rebecca Sugar was influenced by the astrological components behind opals. If you subscribe to crystal healing or crystal energies, opals are supposed to help the wearer take control of their lives. It's been associated with love and passion, and is said to intensify emotions and amplify loyalty and faithfulness. People apparently used it to treat fevers, infection, purify their blood, and regulate insulin. So yeah, Deathstone makes so much sense. But that being said, I definitely can see how the positive energy and loyalty play into Opal the Fusion. Question is though, do you think these properties or supposed powers had any play in creating this character? Let me know what you love about Opal or any details I didn't get to cover in this video. Be sure to tell me in the comments which other fusions you'd love for us to feature. Thanks again to Patreon, TeePublic, and all of you Steven Universe fans who found us by searching for giant women. For more videos, click to the left. Thanks for watching. See you, Space Cowboy.